friends and family, Venus lovers, soul tribe, beautiful souls. It's Dr. Danny, physician astrologer. We're going to talk about the next new moon coming up on August 4th. That's a Sunday. It'll be early in the morning. This is a Cancer new moon, meaning that both the sun and the moon will be in these subtle, quiet stars of Cancer. This new moon brings a lot of very interesting energy to the front. There is something coming. Any of you with senses into the subtle energies can feel that there's an increase in everything. Like everything is just more energetic, more vibrationally higher frequency. And I think we're all feeling it. And the stars might suggest that we have an opportune time to recognize, to hone, and to focus our psychic abilities. And synchronistically enough, I don't even know if this is because I'm creating my own reality or what, but it just seems kind of cool that the stars match what I'm doing. I enrolled in a year-long psychic and mediumship academy with this lady in London, and I'm pretty excited about it. It's, I don't know, like 20 hours of video modules, weekly meetings, practice readings, those sorts of things. I wanted to develop a little bit more of an intuitive sense when I'm reading. I mean, it's already there, but I wanted to identify it, work with it, strengthen it, find areas where I can access different things. So when I looked at the new moon astrology, I was like, holy crap, this is amazing. This is like super synchronous. So I don't know if I'm creating it or if the universe is guiding me or what, but it's all very cool. And so I want to share it with you. And in my usual fashion, to organize my thoughts, I put together a quick PowerPoint for you guys, mostly to explain to you why I think the psychic energy is increasing. Um, this new moon is in Cancer, which is intuition, compassion, empathy. Those are all very psychic type qualities. And then with all the solar flares and the Schumann resonance going off, I kind of came up with a little theory about why it's all working. So let's see if I have any announcements before I want to get started. Oh, yeah, I do. I have a big one, you guys, before I get into this PowerPoint. So summer session 1 has been the business and financial astrology course. We've had a few bumps along the way, but it's been a smashing success. I'm so proud of everybody. I'm so excited that we have this group of just brilliant people learning this material. But summer session 2 is starting here in about 2 weeks. And our good friend Don Bird with Freedom Through Astrology will be teaching that course, and I'll be helping him with his live portion of it. We've already gotten the link together, so that is available. I will link that below if you are interested in it. If you're already a summer session 1 student, you should have an email with an exclusive discount code to get 15% off of summer session 2. If you only want summer session 2, then the price is what it is, but there are tuition options available. So you can spread it out over 2 months or 3 months if you want to. I really, really encourage you guys to dive into this material. Don Bird is amazing, and he's very entertaining when he lectures too. And you will come away with a depth and breadth of knowledge about the lunar nodes that I don't think you're going to be able to get anywhere else. He uses 13 houses. He also mentions Ophiuchus. And because he uses constellational astrology, those funny axes where you don't have the typical, Aries, Libra, you might have a little Virgo Aries, you might have a Aquarius Cancer, those kinds of axes because of the way the constellations are placed. And so he reads into those. So it's going to be really, really good. So that link's below. Also, at the end, I want to give you a link to a free meditation. It's a trance out track that I created to clear and heal the chakras. It's totally free. I want you guys to have that. But I'll talk about it at the end because what I'm talking about today ties into what this meditation can do for you. Okay, so that's all I wanted to talk about right off the bat in terms of announcements. Oh, one more thing too. I'm so sorry. Don and I are going to be live on my channel on Wednesday night at 6:30 p.m. I think that's the 31st. Yep, July 31st. So you get to meet Don. We're going to have a nice little casual conversation. We're going to talk about the nodes and anything else that pops up. I'm super excited because he's really easy to talk to. You guys will really, really enjoy that. So we'll see him live on Wednesday. All right. Let's see. Let me share my screen. Here's my PowerPoint. Let me share my screen. There we go. Okay. I don't know. It's just easier to get my thoughts together when I have a PowerPoint. So here's the name of the talk. And, when I get together a video, part of my process after I look at the astrology and I review it and I sit with it a little bit, I get graphic images in my mind and I go and I say, okay, what is this thumbnail going to say about this video before I even record it? Because I think pulling the idea in visually is helpful to communicate to you what I think is happening here. So there's this guy he looks like a fourth dimensional creature. He's got the tree of knowledge on his head, and then there's this solar energy coming down, bringing in that gnosis, that energy, and it just feels like psychic abilities coming online. And I have a theory for it. I think there's actually a physical reason for people's psychic abilities coming online, psychic abilities getting stronger in the time frame that we're in. And so I just wanted to share that with you. I think it has a lot to do with the sun. So as you guys know, there's been increased solar energy. We're at a solar cycle maximum right now. In fact, it's solar cycle number 25, and it's only getting hotter. Okay, so each year, 2020 was the minimum, and somewhere mid 2025, late 2026 is going to be the maximum of the solar cycle. And look, we're already blowing the curve with this trend line right here of the amount of sunspots, solar flares, and this has been the predicted ranges. So for some reason, we're a lot hotter than we expected. And what does that do? How does this affect the energy in general all around us? I'm going to get into that, but there's a couple of other things going on too, in tandem with this solar cycle maximum that we're having. When you have a solar cycle maximum, i.e. more sunspots, more sun activity, you get solar flares. And this is taken from spaceweatherlive.com, and you can check it every single day. And it will show you the solar flares over the last several days, over the last 3 days. So we've had, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4 M flares over the last 3 days. And if you check it daily, you'll see that just about every 12 hours or so, we're having a low to mid-class M flare. X flares are the ones that cause those aurora borealis. In that first week in May, a couple months ago, there were like 3 or 4 X flares in a day or two, and that's what caused the aurora borealis. The sun's energy heated up the magnetosphere of the Earth, and those photons got energized and were in the magnetic field, and you could see them from the sky. So that's it right there. We have energized photons pouring in from the sun, exploding off of the sun and entering the Earth's magnetosphere atmosphere, and exciting the ether around us. And how do we know it excites the ether? Because the Earth has her own sort of electromagnetic harmony, frequency, and wavelength. And these little surges that you see in the Schumann resonance correspond very nicely to these solar flares. So as the sun burps out that energy, then the Earth responds with a vibratory frequency. So the energy, the space in between everything is getting more and more energetic. The high density or the high frequency photons are coming through, exciting the ether between everything, and creating energetic shifts for us. That's not the only thing. Why does the sun do this? Well, why is the sun more than unexpected? This is not something that I can find any sort of scientific proof that it's happening. There's a little bit of data coming from Voyager being on the very edge of our solar system. But the truth is, we don't have much scientific data beyond the edge of our solar system. The theory is that we and the stars of the Pleiades orbit around the central sun. It's a little difficult for me to put my head around because I feel like stars need to be a lot closer in order for them to be orbiting each other. But we'll go with this. I feel like there's some truth to this. There's some validity to this, especially if you look in ancient culture and chronologies and you try to understand the cycles of civilization through these ancient stories. There is a cycle there is a pulse, there is a cyclic and periodic golden age and dark age that comes and goes. And the way that they explain it is that there's this photon belt that is around the central star Alcyon of the Pleiades. And that band of photons is an area of space that the Earth will move into. And it's just now entering that space on the very border edge of it. And we'll have 2,000 years of these high density photons. Now, what does that look like for us? Well, the thing that we have to understand when we think about this is there are 4 elements in traditional alchemy. You have earth, air, fire, and water. Physics has gone back and forth between the everything else that isn't those 4 elements. Is it a vacuum or is it made of stuff? And at first it was made of stuff and it was called ether. And then there was a vacuum for a little while. And now they're finally starting to say, well, there might actually be a substance out there, a thing. And so this is the 5th element. This is the element that rules Ophiuchus, the 13th sign in constellational astrology. And I want you to wrap your mind around the quantum foam. This is a thing. You can Google this. This is just an artist's depiction of what the quantum foam might look like. It's basically on the very smallest scale that we could possibly imagine. There's just these energetic fluctuations that contain so much energy potential that like 1 cubic centimeter of it is literally the entire, energetics of the solar system or something insane like that. When you do the math, that's what they come up with. Nassim Haramein, who broke ground with this math, bringing through the concepts that Tesla was working on, he's able to prove this with his mathematic theories. I am not equipped to do that. So look up Nassim Haramein, look up quantum foam, but just go on a little mental journey with me here that this ether is the substance that's between everything else. So yes, between me and this computer for sure, but even within my body, the cells that are held together, between the cells is this ether. Go down even further from the cell to the atom or to the molecule. In between the molecules, there's a substance there. There's an ether there. Go even smaller down to the atom, the atomic substance. And when you get down to the size of the atom and then you peer even further inside of it, there's more space. There's more space that relatively speaking, a tennis ball to the end of the solar system would be how much space is between the nucleus and the electron. I mean, it's a massive amount of space. And what occupies that space? It's this ether. It's this quantum foam, okay? And so as the vibration is rising, as the sun's heat is increasing, as the heat around the solar system is increasing, I mean, Mars is getting hotter, Jupiter is getting hotter, Pluto is getting hotter, the Earth is getting hotter, the entire solar system is literally warming up, okay? And so that warming up, whatever's causing that, creates it's these high energy fluctuations through this quantum foam, through this ether. And this ether is so small and so light that it can actually carry, follow me guys, the subtle thought forms that would otherwise pass by our regular senses unnoticed, okay? They usually pass by unnoticed at an unperceivable level, like thoughts and feelings and other things that are just floating out there in the ether, riding on the quantum foam. As it rises, these thought forms are able to be picked up by our own frequencies. Okay, so our intuition, that part of the brain that transmits smell, sense, hearing, taste, and touch to us, that also picks up this high vibratory frequency, and it is now able to perceive those subtle thought forms that are rising up from the quantum foam. So I hope that makes sense. Those 2 things are going on right now because of this higher energetics. Number 1, the subtle thought forms are able to be perceived now because of the effect that this high frequency vibration is having on the parts of our brain that help us to see, smell, touch, taste, and feel, okay? So it's more sensitive and the thought forms are more available to us. So there's actually like a scientific reason for why this happens. You guys, this is also how our heart communicates to our brain to create those thought forms. Okay. Those are the subtle thought forms that give us a clue. That's the intuition. That's the psychic sense. Okay. So everything's rising. Everything's rising. The heart is feeling it. The heart is communicating it. The quantum foam, if you will, is perfectly primed to carry these thought forms up and into the perceiving part of our brain where we receive sensation. And all of this results in a clearer picture, an epiphany, an inspiration, a flash of insight, a moment of true understanding and compassion. So if we can connect like this on these subtler realms, you guys, there's nothing that we can't accomplish. There's nothing that we can't understand. We can never be fooled again. Okay. Because this also gives you the gift of your discernment. So when you hear something that isn't true or doesn't resonate with you, you know immediately. You don't even have to worry about it. You just know. So what does all this have to do with moon and Cancer? Well, I'm going to get to that. I'm trying to make sense of all this too myself. Let's just look at this. So here we are. Here's the stars of Cancer. This is early on the 4th of August. There's the moon right there with the sun. Let's take away this landscape for a minute. And I'm literally struck at the beauty of our cosmos. Look at this. This is the ecliptic of our galaxy right here. Right here. And it crosses the solar ecliptic, Leo, Cancer, Gemini, Taurus, right here between Gemini and Taurus. It's just so beautiful. And here you can see the moon and sun in the stars of Cancer. The tropical astrology is using it, is saying this is Leo, and that's fine because in tropical, the constellation of Cancer is the sign of Leo. So we're talking about the same space in the sky. I'm just taking out that extra filter. We don't need it anymore. Okay. So the sun and moon are in Cancer. And this, whenever the sun and moon are conjunct like this, I mean, you can't even see the stars of Cancer. If this was a new moon on the other side of the sky and Cancer was midheaven and it was completely dark, you might be able to sort of out of the corner of your eye see some of the stars of Cancer. It's such a subtle place. There's deep emotions here. There's a feeling that is so intense and deep and soulful. And there's really, with the moon and the sun together, there's no boundaries between the inner and the outer. There's a desire for a connection of the inner outer, the emotional with the intimate. There's a heightened intuition here. There's a heightened sensitivity and empathy and a spiritual openness. So there's a singleness of purpose here in this and an ability to basically read any situation. So if this isn't like psychic abilities being heightened, I don't know what is. Moon and sun right there in Cancer. Deep empathy, deep intuition, deep compassion. It's absolutely stunning when I think about the synchronicities in my own life. So let's look at a chart for a minute and see what's going on with that. I don't know why my video is so there it is. Just had the focus power. Okay. Sorry about that little tangent there. Let's go back to the slides and we will look at this chart. I'm going to break it down for you. Here's how the chart's a little bit different too from tropical. Tropical likes the symmetry of 12. Everything is perfectly symmetric in the sky, which is great. It helps you to memorize. You don't need the computer program. You can do it all in your head, and it's great. And if you know where the fixed stars are, then you can relate it back to the sky. But if you don't use that, then every sign's a little bit different in size. Isn't that interesting? And Cancer is one of the smaller spots. So let me zoom in here. Oops, it won't let me zoom. Oops, because I'm on the wrong thing. There we go. Let's just zoom in a little closer. Here we go. All right, I'm going to get my pen out too. Okay, so here we go. Sun, moon, and Cancer. And I just kind of described to you what that is. You know, the sun is that outward expression, it's the light flowing from you that everyone can see, that you shine onto the face of this beautiful earth. And then the moon is that emotional, feminine, internal side of you that magnetizes energies to you based on whether you feel good or whether you feel sad. So it's just a combination of both of these energies. It's almost the full spectrum of the self, literally, in the empathetic, compassionate, intuitive stars of Cancer. You guys like this video? If you love my content so far, please subscribe if you're lurking. Yeah, I worked hard on this. I worked on this all morning. We didn't have very nice weather the last couple of days. And so I just kind of woke up with the sunrise, you know, when I felt good enough to wake up. And all of a sudden I just was tapped in and I started putting this whole thing together. So I am really feeling this energy right now that's coming for us for this new lunar cycle. I think this is going to be a nice time if we can focus on that heightened sensitivity. Um, a couple of aspects that the moon and the sun are making are interesting as well. Moon, sun are in sextile to Jupiter, Mars. So let's talk about that first. Jupiter, Mars together in Taurus. So Jupiter, Mars together is expansion of ambitious expansion. It's action and growth. It's optimistic endeavors. Okay. It's grounded in the physical, being in Taurus, in an earth sign. Um, it works very nicely together. It feels like two brothers together working harmoniously. It's a very nice, joyful energy with swagger, so to speak. You know, I really like the two together. When I see them together like this in the sky, I smile. It could be a fresh start for, you know, people, because this is a new moon. A new moon is a time to set intentions, and with these boisterous feelings of Jupiter and Mars together, you almost get a sense of just the perfect time to feel optimistic and to set intentions to make actions and plans on it, like inspired action. This is really what this feels like. So inspired action, I feel like, is the name of the game for this new cycle. What inspires you? What gets you excited? What makes you feel happy and full of faith and idealism? That's what you can take action on this lunar cycle. So it's a fresh start in areas of enthusiasm and opportunities, which is so nice considering all the tough energy that we've had the last few last few days and weeks. Sun Moon also trine on our collective North Node in Pisces. So those are the two aspects that Sun and Moon are making right here. Now, with this high level of solar energy and with this heightened level of empathic and compassionate psychic energy, we can sense future trends, right? Because the North Node is the evolutionary destiny of our collective universal love and oneness. So, what future trends can you be excited and optimistic about? So, yeah, sit with spirit, ask what's next, because this is, if you don't know what you want to do, if you don't have an inspiration, just sit with it, just meditate for a minute. And I've got great, the thing at the end is going to help you do this. Okay. I didn't want to just give you a bunch of information and go, well, what do I do with it? I wanted you to like have the idea in your mind that this is time to set new intentions, to be excited about what's next, and to be able to clear your physical and psychic channels so that you know what to do next. All right. And this energy, this moon sun pointing onto the North Node, is saying be in alignment with the collective destiny. When you do sit with spirit, after you listen to this meditation, the downloads that you're going to get are going to make you feel inspired and absolutely full of energy. Okay. And what's so neat about this sextile aspect is that Mars and Jupiter are trining on the South Node and sextiling onto the North Node. So when we're looking at a moon energy chart, we want to look at what the nodes are feeling, okay? And so that optimistic expansion, that energetic faith, that the take inspired action, the take action inspired by God type of energy is aligned to the collective nodes in a very nice and very, very helpful way. So it's supportive energy for using your psychic talents for positive outcomes. Isn't that lovely? I just think that's so lovely. So this isn't really aspected here, but there's, energetically, because of the way this is all shaped, geometrically speaking, that's also in a sextile to the south node. So moon, sun, and sextile to south node, trine to north node, Jupiter, Mars in sextile to north node and trining to south node. Okay. That's all of this. This is being inspired to take the action around your new abilities. Now, there is a shadow side to Jupiter and Mars, and they are making they're making a harsh aspect to Saturn. And so Jupiter can be overly expansive, overly zealous, overly indulgent, especially in Taurus. Mars can be very aggressive, can be very angry when he doesn't get what he wants. Okay, can be very stubborn and pig-headed in Mars. And so you get this sort of wild energy, overzealous energy that wants to maybe do too much action or maybe too much inaction. And then you've got Saturn in a square to that. So that might make that expansive, action-oriented energy feel a little bit trapped. That's not a nice feeling. I don't know anybody that likes to feel stuck. So Saturn is making you feel stuck over here. This is what you need to watch. Okay. And I would say if you're not connecting to spirit, that you're not going to be able to use this square constructively, right? Because this square, this challenge, this feeling of being trapped is showing you exactly where you need to take action, but in a more emotionally energetic place than, oh, here's some information from the divine where you can just go ahead and take action on it. So sometimes you can't help the feelings that you get, that you receive, but you can affect how you react. So I would say if feeling trapped, then Mars is your actual outlet to relieve some of that steam, relieve some of that pressure. So wherever Mars is in your natal chart, look to the constellational element that it's associated with, and that's your outlook. For example, mine is in Pisces, not in Pisces. Mine is in Leo, so my outlet is heat. It's fire. Okay, doing something physical, doing something spiritual, which is also fire. Okay, so yeah, watch the dark side of Jupiter and Mars because Saturn can bring that out. Saturn, just to say something nice about him, is a little bit less controlling in retrograde. So there could be explosive expression if we let those trapped feelings sort of fester. That's what I would say about those two guys. Also, you'll notice, now that we're done with those guys, you'll also notice on this day that Mercury and Venus are conjunct, and Mercury is also stationing retrograde that day, that very day. So what does that mean for us? I know a lot of people are like, oh no, Mercury in retrograde. It's really not that bad. You just have to know how to harmonize your own frequency to Mercury. So I'm going to open up my Mercury seminar and I'm not going to go through the whole thing with you, but I am going to show you the concept of harmonizing your frequency with the Mercury waves. Because you should think of Mercury as a frequency, especially with the frequency that it moves through our life. It comes around every 116 days. We go through this. And what this graph is showing you is SR is station retrograde, SD is station direct, IC is the inferior conjunction, SC is the superior conjunction. So when Mercury stations retrograde, see how quickly the energy is increasing in frequency and intensity? It just keeps going up and up and up logarithmically. And then when we have the Sun conjunct Mercury, which I want to say is the 14th. Let me check for you. Okay. It is the 19th of August, and it's on the full moon. So during this lunation, the whole lunation, Mercury is retrograde, and the inferior conjunction with the sun occurs during the full moon phase. So we'll be talking about that. You guys will probably be feeling it too, because the shadow period for this Leo Mercury is already very intense. A lot of things are weird right now. And Mercury just brings the intense heat to it as well. Okay. So we're in it. We're in it right here. And how do we do that? So we are also receivers, and there's different ways that you can mesh with another frequency. You can either have constructive interference, you can have complete destructive interference, or you can have partial destructive interference, meaning that you soak in those frequencies that are coming at you because you're in such an intense receiving mode that you get all these downloads, but you're not going to be able to uh, transmit as well. That would be sort of going with the flow of Mercury. The complete destructive interference, would be giving just as much back that Mercury is giving, so that it doesn't affect you at all. You can do that too. And then this is what happens when you're not consciously working with Mercury energy during Mercury retrograde. You get a partial destructive interference where you can lose your keys, lose your phone, signals drop out. People don't communicate very well. This is where most people live. Okay. So try to think about Mercury retrograde a little bit differently. But that's happening. That's starting on that day. Oops. I'm going to go back to this one. So that's starting on that day right there. Mercury will be also conjuncting Venus. Venus is moving towards Mercury. Mercury is moving towards Venus now because of the retrograde motion. And what you'll notice here too, if you haven't noticed it already, is that this conjunction is the apex point for a finger of God, a yod in astrology, the finger of fate. And the gift is the sextile between retrograde Neptune and retrograde Pluto. And this has been a long standing transit. It's one of the longest transits ever. Like, everybody is born with this. It's been around for quite a while and will be. And this sextile is surrendering to that metamorphosis, that transformation that we're going through as a collective, that transformation of opening up the deep subconscious shadows and exposing light on it and bringing it to the forefront so that we're complete and whole humans working for the good of everybody. So anyway, that's the gift there. That's what we have that we get to work with. And then we get to fuse the right and left sides of our brain here. But we have to use this compassionate communication, this creative intelligence with this profoundly powerful energy. And, you know, Venus attains enlightenment through sensing it, through the wisdom through the senses. Mercury is the wisdom through the mind, through knowledge. So now you have sensual knowledge of this transformation. And you'll want to creatively express this, because this is Mercury, Venus conjunct in Leo, an intense Mercury. You're going to be receiving the downloads on how to do it from these guys too, from Neptune and from Pluto. Wow. And then a couple days after this formation, I think on that Monday, yeah, let me see. Yeah, on Monday the 5th, Pluto moves into retrograde back into Sagittarius. So it's about your beliefs, it's about your faith, it's about what you think you're capable of, so bringing that to the forefront in the expressive state of Leo. Super interesting. You'll want to look at where these degrees are, what houses they point to in your natal chart, if you're curious about how this particular yod will affect you. In a couple days, you guys are going to get my solar return report. We're going to look at all of this, but we're going to look at it back to my natal chart because it's my 50th birthday this day. So we're going to do a Dr. Danny solar return that day, and work with all this on my natal chart. I have some tough aspects. I always do during my birthday. It's so interesting. So we'll go through it. But this is connecting the mind and the body to the emotional intelligence of the heart. Leo is all heart. So bringing in that profound change, bringing that into a practical place that can be expressed. This is very much an energy of moving from third density to fourth density, you know, a place of just physicality and lack to love and compassion and universal love and oneness. So that's intense. Then there's a T-square going on, guys. So remember that yod that these two characters, Venus and Mercury, were in. They're also in a T-square with Uranus and Lilith in opposition. And so Uranus in opposition to Lilith, right? There's an instinctual need to balance your harmony here. And there is the drive to bring your individuality into grounded practicalness. It works nice together, but what is required here in order to balance these energies is a break in your physical pattern. You have to do something different. You can't change what's happening if you don't do something different. If you're doing the same thing every day and wondering why things are not changing in your life, it is because you have to do something different. And it doesn't have to be associated with everything that you want to change. If you wanted your whole new life to change, you don't have to do that tomorrow. You can change one small thing that you do every single day and be different than you were the day before, and keep doing that. And if you do that consciously with working with these two energies, it tends to be less of a surprise or a shock like Uranus is prone to do. You can pretend to be shocked, but you'll know deep in your heart from your instincts, from your own knowing and gut that you actually wanted it to happen. So you might be like, oh, you weren't coming? Oh, well, I actually didn't want you to come anyway, you know, like that kind of thing. You know, break the pattern, go with your instinct, go with your gut, do something different, say no, say yes, do something different than what you've been doing before, because uh, having Venus and Mercury here, this is heart-led intuition. This is heart knowledge. This is heart wisdom right here. And it, it's begging you. It's begging you to break pattern in alignment with your true heart-led intuition. Cool. And then finally, Venus and Mercury are trying to Chiron. Oh man, there's so many levels to Venus trine Chiron. I'm gonna leave a link in my description for an article that I wrote um, about sexual healing. It's a topic that I am very keenly, profoundly knowledgeable on. I just don't talk about it a lot on my channel because, you know, a lot of people have opinions about it. But I have recently been kind of going through this phase where I don't really care anymore. So I am going to let you guys read that and let me know what you think. So it's working with, you know, we politely call it the Kundalini, and it's not even about sex really. I mean, yes, you use your sexual energy to heal, but it's more than that. It's like it's just the liquid light that pours through your body, and you have access to it, and it can heal you, and it can heal you so quickly, and literally have you jumping timelines. But this is powerful energy. This is healing through the chakra energy centers via the Kundalini. Unblocking these centers opens you even further to those subtle energies of creation, all those thought forms, all those visual forms, all those feelings, those songs, those colors. It's all available to you when all of those energy centers are unblocked and clear and flowing through you in an energetic way. And you know you're doing it and you can sense that you're doing it. You can feel this in your body. Oh man, your potential just goes way up for everything. You actually attract all the things that you need in this universe to fulfill your life's purpose. And so that is why I wanted to make this meditation available to you guys. I created it, I don't know, like 2 years ago maybe. And I'm using solfeggio frequencies in this. Solfeggio frequencies are the heavenly frequencies. They're aligned to certain intentions like healing, bliss, happiness. And there is a frequency that is associated with each chakra. I don't really go into it too much, really, with how I do it or um, which ones they are in here. I do have that information if you're interested. But what you will see, what you will find when you go through this meditation, look at me, I'm so fuzzy. Oh. First, you'll hear 7 chimes, each one representing an opening, the gateway. That's about a minute and a half. Then you get into the portion of the meditation, or the reflection, I should say, of the root chakra. And that is about 6 or 7 minutes. And what you're going to hear is it's going to be in the frequency of the root chakra solfeggio frequency. Then you're going to hear the seed mantras, the Vedic seed mantras for the root chakra. And this music, it's the same music, but every time we go up on one chakra, the key changes, and you'll hear that. You'll hear the bell, and the key will change. And you'll go all the way up to the crown chakra. And then at the end, you'll hear the bells going in reverse order. It's about a 40-minute kind of trance out, chill out. You don't even have to do anything. You don't have to chant. You just put it in your ears and you listen and you sit and you just let the frequencies move through your body. If you want to chant with it, even better, like that'll help you as well, but you don't have to. Just the pure frequencies that I use with the intentions that I set in the chants and putting the whole track together for you is going to be profoundly healing. Every time I do it, I feel like $1,000,000. So that is free for you. I'm going to put a link somewhere, either up here or down here, for you to go and just, all you have to do is give me your email. There's no strings attached. You will get a link that will help you download that, the digital audio track for that. Okay, so I hope you guys do that. And I hope you join the Fellowship of 13 Signs. And I will see you for the birthday deep dive in just a few days. Namaste, my friends. I love you.